Violet wakes up in Xaden's castle after her brother and her dragon force her to eat because she can't be trusted to take care of herself. She hears that her second dragon, Andarna, is going through dragon puberty, which means they pretty much won't be in this book. Then Violet's posse is like, hey, maybe we all should stand outside this top secret meeting of the rebellion. It's not like we're going to go back to the college where they have fucking mind readers and are probably going to interrogate us because we've been missing for a week, probably. The rebel leaders then notice that Violet has been listening to them from the hallway because, the door is wide fucking open. Then Xaden is like, she's entitled to know some stuff, even though we are going to send her back to the college because Darna has to go through dragon puberty, and that can only happen in a special spot, even though we have a spot here. But the author has to get her back to the college somehow because God forbid you mess up the status quo in a book. And then Xaden is like, that's all you can know because there's a mind reader that is your squad leader. And then Violet is like, oh, why won't you tell me the secrets of the rebellion? Why don't you trust me? And then Xaden just says, bitch, there's a fucking mind reader as your squad leader. Why won't you fucking listen to me, Violet? And then Violet's like, oh, you don't trust me. This goes on for about a quarter of the book, and I would say I would be annoyed at it, but it basically cut out the romance for that portion, which is the worst part of this book. So, while making their way back, they think they might get arrested on sight or have to fight their way out because I don't know. It's very unclear. So they basically just walk into a funeral and they say, sup bitches, we're alive. Then an impromptu interview happens to find out why they were missing for a week, probably. The leadership asks 5 questions and no actual investigation takes place. Should we get the living lie detectors? No, you dumb bitch, she's the MC. Violet's mom is like, yo, Dane's dad, why did you send my daughter into a combat situation? He just kind of shrugs. After this, Violet has a magical temper tantrum and almost kills 3 people. Xaden then graduates and is sent off to a fort somewhere, but he and Violet's dragons need to see each other every 7 days now because they're bonded. Consistency be damned. After the first year's past the OSHA violation, they all meet up in the plaza, and oh my gosh, there's a new instructor. He is super evil, and he has an orange dragon who torches an eighth of the attending cadets and receives no punishment for killing bonded riders. After that, we go to the fighting arena. It's assessment day, and an assassin shows up and kills someone thinking that they were Violet. The instructor's like, oh no, don't do that. Killing is bad. This assassin is a really big, beefy guy. What does Violet do? If you said, run within grappling distance and try and stab him with daggers, you'd be right. As a side note, she also pushes this, I'm assuming, 300-pound person off of her. Xaden visits her this week, and he warded her room without telling her, and she's like, that's not problematic at all, but, he tells her how to bring people into her room. As a side note, more assassins come and try and kill people who were at the Wyvern fight. They're all unsuccessful because they announce that they're going to try to kill you. Violet gets time off to visit Xaden, and she goes to find him in a fighting pit. Fight and you get time off, the way Amazon intended. And then this happens. I forgot my water bottle in the fighting pit.
I'm gonna fuck you so hard. You're not.
I'm not that thirsty, actually. Violet goes back to college and she's learning flight maneuvers, but then the evil instructor is like, have Andarna show up or else. But Andarna can't show up because Andarna's in dragon puberty, but he doesn't know that. So as a punishment, the evil instructor has her do lightning strikes to the point where she almost explodes. And instead of Violet trying to get him replaced because he almost killed a very valuable asset and his dragon murdered a large percentage of cadets, she instead does nothing. Fast forward to another battle brief. Violet gets angry because civilians are jumping the borders because their cities are being destroyed, and the leadership is like, don't worry about it. So she has another magical temper tantrum and almost destroys a wall. She runs into Nolan, the Nurse Joy of this universe, and he looks like shit and is 100% trustful. You know what? He's so trustful that I'm going to bet purchasing this book on forensic pathology on him being super trustful. Violet is waiting for Taryn to show up to take her over to Xaden's outpost, and then she basically screams at her friend because she doesn't know the truth. And then the author tries to justify why the college is so deadly through the eyes of Violet. Then she goes over to see Xaden, and wow, would you look at that? Her sister's now stationed there. And she says that they might torture Violet to death because sometimes they go a little bit too hard. And I'm sitting here like, how can you accidentally kill someone when torturing them? The answer is incompetence. She returns to the college and goes to flight class, and Darna isn't there, so the evil instructor is like, you must be punished again. And then Taryn threatens to kill his dragon, which would in turn kill him. And the evil instructor goes like, okay, maybe I jumped to some conclusions here. How about we just take a break on this? And of course, Taryn had to do something about it because, Violet won't. Xaden is visiting, and then the torture instructor show up and is like, hey, it's time to get tortured. And Xaden goes like, no, you can't take my Discord, kitten. Even though every writer needs to go through this training, and then Violet's like, calm down, Xaden. Gosh. So her and her squad are abducted. They're given a few phrases that they need to say, and if they do say them, they fail and then get murdered because this college is super brutal. And what is the torture like, you might ask? Well, they just basically beat the shit out of you. This brings me to a point I want to make, which, torture is a very bad thing. It's terrible for extracting information, and all it does is really produce trauma. And the way that they are just beating the shit out of people without targeting certain places is stupid. These are the correct places to hit. These are the places that can cause permanent damage and can potentially kill people. And dead people don't give information. Also, this entire torture thing is stupid because there are mind readers in this world. What are you doing? Also, I forgot to mention that there was a badge for escaping. And of course, Violet and her team escape because they're the bestest, most competent writers. Another battle brief session happens, but it's different this time.
His name is John C.
That's right, the psychopath is back. And all of Violet's friends are like, we should kill him again. And then Violet's like, nah. Also, this happened. Time to go take a shower.
Yeah, we're having sex in a public shower.
Never mind. Then they go meet some Griffin riders to give them weapons. And then one of them is Xaden's ex. Violet actually acts mature for once and isn't super jealous yet. Xaden gives her one of the daggers that they were going to give to the Griffins, and then Violet heads back. And oh no, she stopped to get searched, but she has the super alloy dagger on her. But one of her friends teleports the dagger, so nothing of worth is found on her. And then her friends are like, what the fuck is this? And instead of telling them it's classified, she just tells them everything. But not everything. Then she brings them into the plan to get a really old book. Threshing happens for the first years, and afterwards, Violet has guard duty on some fucking tower. But oh no, the really incompetent assassins show up and stab a person she was with no fucking warning. And then just casually walks over to her, picks her up, and then throws her off a cliff. But she holds on, because of course she does, and then the psychopath fucking saves her. So when Xaden visits her next, they, including her friends, find the prince, which, by the way, he's in the book. He's just not important other than this one plot point. And they're like, hey, we're going to steal from your father. And he's like, sure, why the fuck not? So they break into the vault, and he pulls Violet into the vault because it's a magical seal that only prince people can get into. And then Xaden is like,
how dare you touch my Discord, Xaden?
And the prince is like, you fucking nerd. I needed help finding the book. So they get the book. Everything's perfectly fine. They leave. They all split up for some reason. And then Nolan shows up. And man, he's such just a great guy. He offers Violet a drink. And you know nothing bad? What do you mean the drink was drugged? Anyways, they torture her to extract information, and she starts hallucinating a dead friend. The evil instructor brings down Dane so he can actually mind read her, and he does, and he sees that, like, the super evil Venom exists, and he's like, yo, what the fuck, there's a third threat, and then Xaden shows up and kills a bunch of people, Dane and Violet kill the evil instructor, and as she's leaving, she hears,
They broke your body, but they did not break you.
this is of course coming from the hallucination of her dead friend. Her mom shows up and is like, sup, I'm actually a good guy, then immediately leaves. They call a formation to bring the cadets into the rebellion, and about 100 riders join the rebellion, which sounds like a supply chain nightmare, but we won't dwell on that. They start classes in the rebellion, then Violet's sister randomly shows up and breaks her brother's nose for making them think that he was dead. Here we learn that mentors have problems healing themselves. Also, he says, I'll probably need to set the cartilage. What the fuck in the American education system? How the fuck do you not know how a broken nose works? There are bones in the fucking nose. Cartilage does not break. It does not need to be set because it has no really structural form like bones do. Bones are solid, they can snap. Cartilage is flexible. How the fuck are you a functioning adult and not know how that works? So that really old book that they stole is actually a journal of one of the founders of the Dragon Country. She's translating this document because she wants to mimic the wards that they have over Dragon Country. She tries the ritual and fails because she has no idea what she's doing. Now that she's decided that she can't get the wards up, she decides that she needs to obtain a luminary to start the forge. What is the luminary? Why are you asking so many questions? Shut the fuck up! Before she goes, she has a meeting with her new teacher, and he basically says, your magic is tied directly to your emotions, and you're as emotionally stable as an MCR fan with grippy socks. The guy who has the luminary is a collector, and he wants to see Violet wield her rare ability. So she goes over there with her siblings, and Xaden is there for some fucking reason. Then Xaden is like,
Oh, Discord Gaiden, I told you not to come here.
and Violet is like, bitch, we need a luminary. But wait, Xaden has a bed here, and he knows where things are.
Oh my god, his ex is also here.
Do I sense jealousy? The collector is like, yo, fight this chest without Xaden in the fighting pit, and I'll enter negotiations for the luminary. Violet's like, yeah, sure, I'll fight a chest. Surprise, the chest is actually a venom. And of course, she kills it. After she leaves the fighting pit, she finds Xaden saying,
How dare you endanger my...
to the person who they're trying to negotiate with. Violet is like, stop. So he does. They enter negotiations for the luminary, and they have to agree to bring a bunch of Griffin riders with them. The path for the Griffins to college is super dangerous, and the cadets join them to boost relations between them. Some wyverns show up, and Violet, of course, just kills them. As a side note, and Darna also woke up, but she has a messed up wing. Oh my gosh, she'll never actually bear a rider. Which is convenient, because Violet has a spare dragon. The Flyers and Riders aren't getting along, because, you know, they have been killing each other for literal fucking decades. The adults are like, you know what would help decrease these tensions? Violet has to fight Xaden's ex, because of course she does. Xaden's ex uses her powers of emotion heightening, which isn't good because Violet's emotions are already unstable and are linked to her magic. For some weird reason, Violet is able to win, even though she got thrown to the ground and a good fighter would have just... Then Xaden shows up and it's like,
Violet, don't kill her, because reasons. Also, I want to have sex with you while you're mid-panic attack.
Violet spends more time translating the documents, this time with help. She figures out how to raise the wards, but now she's like, wait, but if I do this, the Griffin Riders won't be able to wield magic, so I won't. She doesn't even tell leadership. Oh yeah, by the way, Venom are like 4 hours away, but then they get information that the Venom are actually coming on their way, so they decide to raise the wards. While they watch the wards to see if they work, Violet asks Xaden what his second signet is, and he's like,
Yeah, about that, so I can read minds.
this is a signet ability that usually gets people put to death. Violet and Xaden have a stupid fight, and I could care less. Oh yeah, and some Venom show up, and they see the wards, and they're like, damn you. They then get a letter from the Dragon Country Super General, and he wants the rebellion to help them in a fight, because he knows they will lose, because he knows the outcomes of battles. The rebellion is like, lol, no, we're going to watch your civilians die, even though that's the reason why they left and rebelled in the first place, but whatever. In Battle Brief, Violet figures out that the Venom are actually going to attack the War College, not where the Super General actually said they were. But because of some magic bullshit, he won't be able to see that there is a battle that's going to take place there. Instead of telling everyone in the room, where she could probably persuade people to actually join her, and she just gets up and leaves, and her squad follows her. They go to the college to find the psychopath destroying the entire country's wards, which, by the way, is guarded by 2 guys. They take him prisoner. Everyone prepares for the fight. Thousands of Venom come, and instead of sending all the Venom at the defenders all at one time, they just kind of send them in waves. While Violet is running around on the ground, her scribe friend just kind of randomly shows up and is like, oh yeah, by the way, there's actually 7 dragon types in this journal, not 6. Then Violet is like, oh shit, I should have noticed the 7 dragon types. Blue, black, green, orange, red, white, and camo. Of course, in Darna's camo, because everything Violet has needs to be special. So in order for the wards to actually work, they need the flames of all of those dragons. They also need to fill up the ward with magic, so Violet's mom sacrifices herself to instantly fill it. The wards are raised. The Venom are destroyed. Also, Zayden's a Venom now. And that's pretty much the book.
I require the flesh of the innocent.